So the Super Bowl happened this past Sunday, and if you know Philly, you know we like to party.
Come on! We won the fucking ball! We did!
Win or lose. But when our teams win, Broad Street's the place to be. So I made sure to get down there with my camera to capture the moment. Let me walk you through what it was like, what I brought, and what I came away with. Let's get into it. To put it bluntly, Broad Street was crazy. There's fireworks overhead, riot guards everywhere, but they were high-fiving the crowd, and people climbing on anything remotely climbable. But everyone was having a blast. And there I am in the middle of it, trying to enjoy myself and get a few shots with my camera. So, let's talk gear. What did I pack? Well, I packed light. I ran an A7 III with a 35mm 1.8 pretty much the whole time. I wanted a lightweight camera that was, modest in size so that I could get the shots that I needed. I had a mounted shotgun mic on top. Ditched that super early because of the crowds, and it really wasn't what I was going for. I did want some film, which I'm showing the B-roll here, but I wanted the pictures more so than the video. So ditched that and went with just a cheap Godox mounted flash. Had it set in manual mode and just adjusted as I went. But that was my go-to. I had a 55mm with me as well. Could never get it out of the bag. I had a small backpack with me, but good luck trying to get that off and change your lenses or, swap lenses without dropping it with everybody bumping into you and jostling around. So the 35 stayed on the camera the whole time, and the on-camera flash the whole time. So that's what I ran. I know I mentioned it in my previous video that the 24-105 f4 is usually my go-to for street photography or like walking around the city. However, I did mention that it's, dog shit in low light, so it misses focus, and being stuck at f4 I think would have been a problem. So I didn't want to mess with that. I needed that quick focus. That's why I went with the 2 primes. I mentioned it a bit earlier, but the crowd was so dense. It was hard to move. I'm sure you've been to concerts where you're packed back to back. This is exactly what it was like. I had to hold the camera above my head most of the time, and thank God I'm tall. But having this light prime setup was fantastic. After about an hour of being there and having more beer spilt on me than I knew what to do with, I knew it was time to get out. I couldn't really move anymore. Everyone was like pushing to get further and further down the street. The exits on the side streets were being blocked off by police, and I knew it was time for me to go. Having this equipment with me and just my safety, like I didn't feel unsafe being down there by any stretch of the imagination for the time I was there, but I always look for that escape plan, exit strategy, things like that. So as the crowd started, ramping up, I was like, all right, I got it. I'm done. I'm ready to go. Start making way back home. So if you're doing this, just make sure you have that exit strategy, especially when you're down there with that gear. Make sure your gear's safe, All right, so let's break down some of the images that I got. So here are a few of my favorites. It's not my usual style, but I wasn't there to create, perfect art. I just wanted to capture the energy for myself, and I wasn't really worried about getting the quote-unquote perfect shot. It was more about grabbing, what was interesting and what I wanted to remember. I wanted establishing shots of the crowd and their reactions, and these stood out to me the most. There are a ton more that I'm keeping for myself, and I'll put in like a personal album, but I'm not sharing them because I don't really think they're, good enough or up to my standards. And you know what? That's okay. Not every photo has to be a portfolio-worthy picture. Sometimes we just need to use our cameras to capture life for ourselves. I think we spend too much time trying to be that perfect photographer, but for moments like this, they remind me that it's okay to just shoot for the joy of it. Looking at these images, I think my f-stop wasn't the best. I think that my shutter speed was probably too slow. Even though my priority was trying to get, a well-composed image, I think that I overlooked probably the shutter speed at times, and it left me with a little bit of a blur to the image. Having the on-camera flash definitely helped to lighten up some of these portraits, and I think they turned out okay. They're good enough for me to display and be proud of the work, but they're not, showstoppers. And I think that's, all right for what I was doing. But I did want to share it with you, and I think that we can get some knowledge from it. But as I said, it's okay just to shoot for the joy of it. All right, so what can we salvage from this video? Well, I think that I can give you a few tips if you're ever in this kind of like chaotic environment. Maybe your team's going to win the Super Bowl next year and you want to go downtown to celebrate. Or, you're going to a concert or just something like that where everybody's really tightly cramped and you want to give the shot. So here's just some tips that I have for you. First is pack light. You don't want to be fumbling with lenses in the crowd. And that's something that, I thought about, but I was like, man, I can definitely take 2 primes and one in a pocket or one in a backpack and won't be a big deal. But, ultimately it was. A zoom lens would have been great. I just didn't have one that had an f-stop that I was happy with, so I went with the 2 primes. But, the 35 did the trick. But if I'm you and I'm going to a crowd like that, 24 to 70 is probably where I would stick. The other thing is to consider, are you doing more video or are you doing more photos? For me, the photos were the priority, so I used the flash. I know there's ways you can mount both, but I wanted a lightweight, functional camera setup, so I went with the on-camera flash. Next, and probably should have been first, was prioritize your safety. All the pictures in the world are great, but if you're getting stomped to bits, it's not worth it at all. So look at your exit strategy. Make sure your backpack's on tight and secured. And realistically, man, if someone wants your bag and you're in a crowd like that, just give the bag up. You should have insurance. If not, it's gear at the end of the day. It's not worth your life. It's not worth anything. So, here, take the stuff, whatever, I'll get out of there. So exit strategy, putting yourself as a priority, and you're number one. Third, if this isn't your job, if you're not there to capture stuff for a newspaper, just have fun. So often we're hung up on how the photo looks and am I getting the right rule of thirds, or oh crap, my shutter speed's garbage and I need to change it. But when you're just walking and snapping photo after photo, get something that looks good, get a still environment, get something that looks about right, and then just go. Have fun, enjoy your time. It's going to look better than the crap you're going to get on your phone. You still want a good photo, you still want to compose while you're there. But if you're in these moments where it's, you're trying to enjoy the party, you're trying to enjoy the crowd and being there and a part of the city and a part of the moment, just use the camera as a form of expression and capturing those shots. It's not so much about that perfection that we're always after and beating yourself up. And I know that I'm guilty of that all the time. I uploaded, let's say, as a couple hundred photos to Lightroom, or in my case, Capture One. And I'm like, oh, crap. And I'm ranking these photos that don't even matter. I'm going to throw them in a scrapbook somewhere. And edited, a handful. But the rest, to everyone else will be like, oh, that's cool. And they'd want to see them. So don't get hung up on the perfection and stuff like this. Yes, you want to be good and proficient, but it doesn't have to be that awe-inspiring picture. If you get one, that's great, and you can post it online or blow it up and sell it. But if that's not what you're after, and you're just there like I was, just to capture the moment and be in it, don't get hung up on that. Really enjoy your time. All right, y'all. Well, I hope that you enjoyed your time and maybe you got something out of this, and hope that you're looking forward to your next event or something you can get down to and get some pictures. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe so you can stay up on all the new videos, and you can check out my work on my Instagram or over on my website, and that's linked down below. Have a good one.